Hello students, welcome back to another video of MATHIPHY. In today's video, we will do remaining questions of course code 0580. It's paper 4, February-March 2025, variant 2. Question number 15 says, Virat records the height of each 80 sunflowers. The results are shown in the table. So here we have the results. Calculate an estimate of the mean height. Now for the mean height, the formula that we have is summation of fx divided by summation of frequency. F is the frequency and x is the middle value of all the classes we have. So let me just calculate the middle values for all of the classes. To get the middle values, you can add the lower class limit and upper class limit and divide that by 2. So 1.2 plus 1.5 divided by 2 will give me the middle value, which is 1.35. Then I'm doing the same for this class as well. So the middle value would be 1.55. For the third class, we'll have the middle value 1.65, and for the last class, we'll have the middle value as 1.8. Now, I will make another column here to get the product of frequency and the middle value. So 12 times 1.35 would be 16.2. 20 times 1.55 would be 31. 34 times 1.65 would be 50.1. And 14 times 1.8 would be 25.2. In the formula, we have summation of fx. So I will add all the products of frequency and middle value. So 1.62 plus 31 plus 50.1 plus 25.2. And in the denominator, I have to write the summation of all the frequencies. That means add 12, 20, 34 or 14, or the total is already given by the question, which is 80, so I can put 80 directly. Now in the numerator, after adding all the values, I will get 128.5 over 80, and dividing these both, I'll get my final answer as 1.60625. I can round it off to 1.61. B part is saying draw a histogram to show the information in the table. On y-axis we have frequency density and x-axis we have height. And frequency density is the ratio of frequency over class width. So let me just calculate frequency density first. I have drawn the table again. The class width is the interval between upper limit and lower limit of the class, and you can calculate it by subtracting 1.2 from 1.5. So 1.5 minus 1.2 would be 0.3, which is your class width. 1.6 minus 1.5 is 0.1, 1.7 minus 1.6 is again 0.1, and 1.9 minus 1.7 is 0.2. Now to get frequency density, I will divide frequency by class width. So 12 divided by 0.3, the frequency density would be 40. 20 divided by 0.1, it is 200. 34 divided by 0.1, it is 340. And 14 divided by 0.2, it is 70. Now I'll draw the histogram on the basis of frequency density. For the class greater than 1.2 and less than or equal to 1.5, the frequency density is 40. Then for the next class, the frequency density is 200. And for the third class, the frequency density is 340. And for the last class, the frequency density was 70. So here is the complete histogram. 16th question says the diagram shows the speed of a cyclist during the journey of 30 seconds. On y-axis we have speed, on x-axis we have time in seconds. First part says write down the acceleration of the cyclist between 15 seconds and 25 seconds. So acceleration is always defined by the gradient of the curve or the gradient of the graph line. So we are supposed to find the gradient of the line between 15 and 25 seconds, so we can define acceleration. Between 15 and 25 seconds, the graph line is the horizontal line, and for horizontal lines, the gradient is always 0. So if the gradient is 0, the acceleration is also 0. So the answer to the first part is 0 meter per second square. B part says by drawing a tangent, find an estimate for the acceleration of cyclist at 7.5 seconds. So at 7.5 seconds, I will draw a tangent and then measure the gradient of the tangent to define acceleration. So x-axis, one box is 0.5 seconds, so 7.5 comes here. So I will mark this point on the graph as well, and now I'll draw a tangent on this point. Be very careful when you draw the tangent. The distance of the tangent from both sides of your curve should be equal. So after drawing the tangent, now you will mark any two random points on your tangent. You are free to mark any 2 points. I am marking this point and this point. Now you will write the coordinates of these 2 points that you have marked. For example, for this point, the coordinates are 4 and 6. And for the upper point that I have marked, the coordinates are 10.5 and 8. After marking the coordinates, I will name the first one as x1, y1, and I am naming this as x2, y2. Now the formula to calculate the gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'll put the values. y2 is 8, y1 is 6. So 8 minus 6 over 10.5 minus 4. 8 minus 6 would be 2 and 10.5 minus 4 would be 6.5. So 2 divided by 6.5 is 0.3. As the gradient of this tangent is 0.3 and gradient define acceleration, so acceleration is also 0.3 meter per second square, and I am writing the acceleration in the area provided. C part says work out the average speed of the cyclist between 15 seconds and 30 seconds. Formula for average speed is total distance over total time. And you know the time interval between 15 second and 30 second is 15 seconds. So that means the total time is 15 second. And to get the total distance, it will calculate the area under the curve because area under the velocity time curves define the distance. So I'm writing the total time as 15 and now I'll calculate the distance by calculating the area under the curve between 15 and 30 seconds. So this blue region is the area, and you know this shape is a kind of trapezium. So we will calculate the area of this shape by considering the formula of area of trapezium, which is 1 over 2 a plus b times height. A and b are the parallel sides, so these two sides are parallel. For this upper parallel line, the length would be from 15 to 25, so it is 10 units. And for this lower parallel side, the length would be between 15 and 30, so it is 15 units. And the other straight line is height of trapezium, which is 8. So I'll just substitute the values in the formula. It would be 1 over 2 a plus b, so it would be 10 plus 15 times height, so it would be times 8. Now doing it further, 10 plus 15 is 25. So I'll write 25 here times 8. Now I'll cancel 2 and 8. 2 ones are 2, 2 fours are 8. So it is 25 times 4 and 25 times 4 is 100. So area under the curve is 100. That means distance covered is 100 meter. So total distance is 100. And when you divide 100 by 15, your answer of average speed would be 6.67 meter per second. Question number 17 has provided you a shape and is saying that diagram shows 3 points A, B, C on a horizontal ground. The bearing of C from A is 145. That means from the north pole of A till the line joining A and C, the angle is 145 degree. The angle ACB is 38, so this ACB angle is 38 degree. AC is 65 and BC is 95 meter. Find the bearing of B from C. That means from the north pole of the B towards the line that is joining B and C. So till here we have to find the angle. We already know the half of the angle, which is 180. So I will write 180 over here. But we have to figure out this angle. Two north pole lines are parallel to each other, so this AC line would be a transversal of these two parallel lines. So if this angle is 145 degree, then this angle from transversal line to this north pole line would also be 145 degree because they are alternate angles of each other. And to remember this, you can remember the Z shape of alternate angles. It goes like parallel line, transversal line and parallel line and make a Z shape. And you know it is following the same pattern here and it is making a Z shape, so you can remember it by this thing. So this complete green angle is 145 and we only need this angle inside it, which is blue. To get this angle, I'll subtract 38 from 145. So this angle is 107 degrees. Now to get the bearing of B from C, we will go from North Pole till here. That means 180 plus 107. So 180 plus 107 would give you the bearing, which is 287 degrees. B part says show that AB is 59.3 meter, correct to one decimal place. So AB is this line. We have to find this line. We know two lengths and an included angle. That is a condition for cosine rule. That means I can apply cosine rule. And to apply cosine rule, the side which is opposite to C, let me name this side small c. The side which is opposite to B, I am naming it small b. And the side which is opposite to A is small a. Now I can use this form of cosine rule, which is c square is equals to a square plus b square minus 2ab and cos of angle C. So I'll apply this rule and put in the values and I'll get the length AB. Putting in the values, the A is 95, so it would be 95 squared. Now the value of B is 65, so it would be 65 squared minus 2 into 95 into 65 and cos of angle C. Angle C is 38 degrees. Now you'll solve all these into your calculator and you'll get 3518.06. To get rid of this square, you'll take square root on both sides. So C is equals to 59.3 meters. And you see this value is exactly the same value as provided by the question, which is 59.3. C part is saying angle BAC is obtuse angle. Work out the bearing of B from A. From the north pole of A till the line joining AB. So we have to calculate this complete angle. Now half of the angle is 145, but we have to calculate this inner angle. And this AB length is 59.3. Now we know all the three lengths of the triangle and we know one excluded angle as well. That means we can apply sine rule. So I am writing the sine ratio, which is sine C over C is equals to sine A over A. Angle C is 38, so it would be sine 38 over 59.3 is equals to sine X over A length is 95. Now I can just adjust it. Sine x would be equals to sine 38 over 59.3 times 95. And putting all this into your calculator, we will get 0.986. Taking sine inverse of it, we will get the angle A, which is 80.5 degrees. But the question told us that this angle A is an obtuse angle, which is greater than 90. To get obtuse angle of this 80.5, we'll use the property which is known as ambiguous property, which will help us to get another possible angle of 80.5. So I'll subtract 180 from 80.5 and I'll get the other possible obtuse angle, which is 99.5. So this angle is 99.5. So collectively the bearing would be 145 plus 99.5, which would be 244.3 degrees. Now 18th question says factorize this expression. First thing that we can do with this expression is we can take 2 common because 8 and 98 are both divisible by 2. So I'm taking 2 common. Inside the bracket I left with 9a square minus 49. After it, 9a square can be written in form of a square and 49 can also be written in form of square, and they can be like a square minus b square, which can be written as a plus b into a minus b. So I am making square of both 9a square and 49. So it would be 3a square, and 49 can be written as 7 square. Now they are exactly like the identity I have written, a square minus b square. So I'll write them once by adding 3a plus 7 and once by subtracting 3a minus 7. So this is the factorized form of our question. B part of the question is saying expand and simplify the expression. So we have three factors over here: x plus 4, 2x minus 1 and x minus 2. Firstly, I'll do the first two factors and I will leave x minus 2 as it is. I'll multiply x with the both terms inside the second bracket. So x times 2x would be 2x squared, and x times negative 1 would be negative x. Now I'll do the multiplication of 4 with the two terms in the second bracket. So 4 times 2x would be 8x, and 4 times negative 1 would be negative 4. And the next bracket would be written as it is for now. Now I can solve the like terms together. 2x square minus x plus 8x would be 7x minus 4x, x minus 2. Now I can do the further multiplication. Now I'll multiply 2x square with the two terms in the next bracket first. So 2x square times x would be 2x cube, and 2x square times minus 2 would be minus 4x squared. Now I'll do the same for the next number, 7x. I'll multiply it with the two terms in the next bracket. So 7x times x would be 7x squared, and 7x times negative 2 would be negative 14x. Now doing for the last digit, negative 4 times x and negative 2. So it would be negative 4x, and negative 4 times negative 2 would be positive 8. Now I'll just simplify the like terms and I'll get my answer. 2x cube minus 4x squared plus 7x squared would be plus 3x squared, minus 14x minus 4x would be minus 18x, and 8 will come along. So this is our final answer. Question number 19 is saying solve the equation for x greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 360. And here we have the equation. I have to find x. So firstly, I'll subtract both sides of the equation with 2 to get rid of this 2 over here. So it would be 5 cos x is equals to negative 2. Then I'll divide both sides of the equation with 5. So I'll left with cos x is equals to negative 2 over 5. Now I have to find x, so I'll take cos inverse on both sides. But for now, I'm just ignoring this negative sign with 2 over 5. And I will take cos inverse of only 2 over 5. Because otherwise, if I consider the sign, I'll get a math error. So the angle is 66.4 degrees. Now I'll place this angle into quadrants. We have 4 quadrants active because the range is 0 to 360 degree. In first quadrant we'll have all the functions positive. In second quadrant we will have sine positive. In third quadrant we will have tan positive, and in fourth quadrant we will have cos positive. And you can remember this by the phrase add sugar to coffee, because ASTC will help you remind this. Now remember, your cos is negative, and cos is negative in second quadrant and third quadrant. So I am placing the arrows over here. Now mark the angle 66.4, but remember always you have to mark the angle from horizontal axis. So 66.4 over here as well. Now starting from 0 degree, you have to measure the angle of this red line from 0 degree. So from here to here, what is the angle of this red line? This half is 90 degree, and this other angle would be 90 degree subtracted by 66.4, so it is 23.6. So the total angle is 90 degree plus 23.6, so other angle would be 113.6 degrees. Now for the next arrow, you can again start from 0, 90 degree plus 23.6 plus 66.4 and again 66.4. Or you can simply go like 90 degree plus 66.4 degree and you'll get your second angle, which is 246.4 degree. Now, question number 20 says a piece of metal has the volume 1240 centimeter cube, correct to nearest 20 centimeter cube, and a mass of a piece of metal is 7800 gram, correct to 100 grams. Calculate the lower bound of density of metal, and lower bound means the minimum value of density. You have to calculate it. So let me just calculate the upper and lower bound of the values provided. 20 centimeter cube, so 20 divided by 2 would be 10 centimeter cube. Now to get upper bound of 1240, I'll add 10 to it, so it would be 1250 centimeter cube, and to get the lower bound I'll subtract 10 from it, so I'll get the lower bound as 1230. Now doing the same for the second, 100 divided by 2 would be 50 grams. So to get the upper bound of 7800, I'll add 50 grams to it. So 7800 plus 50 would be 7850 grams. And to get the lower bound, I'll subtract 50 from it and I'll get the lower bound, which would be 7750 grams. Now we have got the upper and lower bound, so let me just write the formula of density, which is mass over volume. If I want the minimum value of density or lower bound of density, I will divide a lower or less value with a bigger value. So I'll get the least value of density. So I'll divide lower bound with upper bound. So lower bound of mass is 7750 and upper bound of volume is 1250. So the value of density for the lower bound is 6.2. Question number 21 is about vectors. OAB is a triangle. C is the midpoint of OA. OC is M and CB is N. E lies on AB and AE ratio EB is 4:5. Find in terms of M and 1 the position vector of E. So C is the midpoint. That means it will divide it into two similar parts. So this part is also M. And AE and EB is 4:5. So this is 4 and this is 5 ratio. Now we have to get the position vector of E. That means from the origin to E. We can follow this route, OA and AE. So I am writing that OE can be OA plus AE. And you know OA is already provided M plus M, which would be 2M. And we have to figure out what is AE. AE is a part of AB, so we have to figure out AB first. So for AB, we can go from A to C and from C to B. That means I can write AB vector as AC vector plus CB vector. Now what is AC? If we see AC would be negative of M because it is going opposite to the arrow. So it is negative M, and what is CB? It is plus N. Now I can just arrange it for the better calculation. I'll write it N minus M. So we have got AB. Now I can also calculate AE from it because AE is having fourth proportions of total 5 plus 4 and 9 proportions of AB. So if I want to find AE, I'll use the ratio method. That is, it is getting 4 proportions out of 9 proportions of AB, which is N minus M. So I have got AE. Now I'll just plug in this value into the vector of OE. So over here I'll write 4 over N times N minus M. So OE would be equals to 2M plus 4 over N times N minus M. Now I can simplify it further and multiply 4 with the vectors inside. So it would be 4n minus 4m over 9. The next thing is that I make 9 the denominator of all the terms. To make 9 the denominator of 2, I'll multiply it with 9. So it would be 18m plus 4n minus 4m. After it, I'll solve the like terms. So 18m minus 4m would be 14m plus 4n divided by 9. So this is the vector OE. Question number 22. The line this intersect the curve this at point P and Q. Find the coordinates of point P and Q. You must show all your working and give your answer correct to 2 decimal places. So the point of intersection means that these two curves or lines would be equal at the point of intersection. So I'll equate both of the equations. After it, I'll just bring all the terms to one side of the equation. So 2x square minus x minus 4x minus 12 minus 3 equals to 0. Now I'll solve the like terms. Minus x minus 4x would be minus 5x and minus 12 minus 13 would be minus 15. This is a quadratic equation and I can solve it by quadratic formula. The a value is 2, b is negative 5 and c is negative 15. And the quadratic formula is this. Let me just put the values. Minus 5 plus minus square root. B square would be minus 5 square minus 4. In place of a, I'll put 2. In place of c, I'll put negative 15 over 2a. So a is 2, so I'll put 2 in place of a now. Now I'll just simplify it further. Minus 5 is plus 5. Minus 5 squared would be 25, positive 25. And minus would be plus. And 4 times 2 times 15 would be 120. Now in the denominator 2 times 2 would be 4. So after doing these calculation, I'll get two values of x, 4.26 and negative 1.76. For x 4.26, I'll put this into the equation y equals to 4x plus 12. You can put it in the other equation as well. So in place of x, I'll put 4.2x plus 12 and doing the calculations, the value of y that I'll get is y equals to 29.04. So for x 4.26, the value of y is 29.04. Now for other x, I'll put the value in the same equation. So it would be y equals to 4 times negative 1.76 plus 12. Now again, you'll put directly this into your calculator and the y value you'll get is 4.96. So for x minus 1.76, the y value is 4.96. Question number 22 says that diagram shows the major segment of a circle, center O and radius 2.5 meter. The segment is the cross section of a tunnel with height 3 meter. The length of the tunnel is 800 meter and it has the same cross section throughout its length. Calculate the volume of the tunnel. So tunnel would look like this and the length of the tunnel is 800 meter and the height of the tunnel is 3 meter. And we have to calculate the volume of this shape. And you know the name of the shape is prism. So we have to apply the formula for volume of prism, which is base area times height. Now what is the base of this shape? This front portion is the base area of this shape. So I'll calculate the base area and I'll multiply it by 800 to get the volume. Now this base has two shapes inside it. The first shape is the sector thing and the other is the triangle. So base area is area of both, area of sector plus area of triangle, and I'll add them both and multiply this by height to get the volume. Now, firstly, let me just consider this triangle. This is an isosceles triangle because it has two same sides. And the property of isosceles triangle says whenever from this vertex you draw a line downward, it will cut your base into two equal halves, and it will also make 90 degree with the base. And the other thing is this complete height of the tunnel is 3 meter. So from center to the circumference, this is radius, so it would be 2.5. So this remaining length is 0.5. Now we have two exactly same right angle triangles with third missing side. Let me call these side as x. And we can calculate this missing side by using Pythagoras theorem. So according to Pythagoras theorem, it would be 2.5 squared is equals to 0.5 squared plus x squared. To get x, I'll rearrange it and take square root of it. So it would be 2.5 squared minus 0.5 squared, and x would be square root 6. So this half is square root 6, the other half is square root 6. So this complete length is 2 square root 6. Now, how can I get this angle of this triangle? Because this angle can help me get the area. I have three known sides of the triangle, and I'm just naming these side A, B, C to make it more easier. If three sides are known and you want to calculate angle, you can use cosine rule. To get angle A, it would be cos A equals to B square plus C square minus A square over 2BC. Now plugging in the values, B is 2.5, so 2.5 square, C is 2.5, so 2.5 square, and A is 2 under root 6, so 2 under root 6 square over 2 into 2.5 into 2.5. Putting all this into your calculator and taking cos inverse of the answer, you will get angle A. So angle A is 156.9 degrees. So this angle is 156.9 degrees. Let me explain it over here as well. This is 156.9. So this remaining angle can be found by subtracting 156.9 by 360. So it would be 203.1. Now we can do all the calculation easily. The area of sector has the formula theta by 360 times pi r squared plus area of triangle is half BC sine A and times height. For sector, the angle is 203.1 over 360 times pi times 2.5 squared plus for triangle it would be 1 over 2. B is 2.5, C is 2.5, so I am writing 2.5 squared. Sine of angle A, that means sine of 156.9, and then I close the bracket and multiply it by 800. Doing the further calculations, dividing these numbers and multiplying it with the square of 2.6, I will get 1.077. Area of triangle would be 1.226 and will times both by 800. Now I will add both the values and I will get 12.303 times 800. So the volume of tunnel is 9842.4 meter cube. Thanks for watching the video. If it was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe my channel.